Hello, guys. How are you guys doing? We are live chatting about the new court documents. I have something in my eye. Sorry, I'm late. I'm never going to be right on time. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I think if you're going to be here, you have to accept that I'll never be right on time. Let me just get the court documents up. Let me know how you guys are doing today. Oh my gosh. I have dog hair in my eyeball. Welcome to those that are new to the channel. There's dog hair everywhere. I should have dealt with this before I went live. I'm sorry, guys. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ashley Brianna Eve. Hello, hello. It's nice to see you guys. All right. I did have the court documents up. I'm going to have to pull them up again. Give me 1 second, guys. We are not fully prepared. That's all right. I was recording another video for you guys that is going up later today. So that is why I am behind. So I literally just got off of that video. All right. Oh my gosh, I have so many emails with so many emails from people with all the links to everything. Let's see if I can pull it up just through the website. Okay, there's one of them. That's not the one I want, though. There we go. All right. I'm going to share this. Actually, maybe we'll go to the People article first. Hello, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to be picking at hair on my face. I have dog hair everywhere. Welcome, though, guys. It's so nice to see you guys. Sorry, I am not prepared. I mean, it's for you guys because, again, I just spent the last hour recording another video for you guys. It'll go up later today. But anyway, let's start diving in. What are you guys doing today? What's on? Hello. It's so nice to see you. What's on the docket for you guys today? Good morning. It's been a bit, but I'm back. It's so nice to see you again. Do you think this is a sign of divorce? It is interesting, eh? Where he's just like, I am out. Let me out of this. All right, let's look at this first, this People article, and then we'll pull up the legal documents. As I always say, I am not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV, guys. I don't know the law. So this is going to be, as if a bunch of friends are just hanging out and going over the documents together. That's what it's going to be. I also have a couple of clips from two lawyers because they are fantastic. I love them. I love watching them. It's very unbiased. So I have a couple of clips from them, but I'm encouraging you to go see their stream after. Hang out with us here after when you want to see the legal side. Here we're just going to, a bunch of friends hanging out saying, can you even believe this? Ryan Reynolds, let's look at People magazine first, though. Ryan Reynolds rep calls him the man. Justin Baldoni built his brand pretending to be, and fiery new statement. Guys, if anyone had asked before if I think or if anyone thinks there's going to be a settlement, this just blew up the settlement to smithereens, like into oblivion, to use dog's hair, to use Brian Freeman's words, like blew it into oblivion because Ryan Reynolds went not just to providing the information required to dismiss the case, but was just vile, was just obnoxious. Like, I don't know. We got Deadpool in the motion to dismiss, I feel. And it's so disgusting that there's no way back. There's no way back. All right, let's have a look. Ryan Reynolds is pushing back against Justin Baldoni's defamation lawsuit. On Tuesday, March 18th, the Deadpool and Wolverine star 48 and his legal team filed a motion to dismiss Baldoni's complaint against the actor, arguing that the It Ends With Us actor's claims have no merit as the lawsuit focuses on Reynolds allegedly calling Baldoni 41 a predator in private conversations. Here's the thing I want to say, though, and the two lawyers talked about this as well. And again, this isn't legal. I'm not a lawyer, but it's different saying to someone, oh my gosh, yeah, that person's so annoying or I hate them, and calling someone a sexual predator to WME agents or to anyone at the end of the day, especially in a post Me Too movement where people aren't going to take that as a joke. People aren't going to take that as, ah ha ha, like, yeah, okay. They're not. That is intentionally planting a seed that's going to blow up someone's career. I couldn't have said it better. Deadpool wrote that. Literally. I think the plantation princess is going to be left all alone after all is said and done. No one wants anything to do with her. I said as well, I think Ryan's best bet is to divorce, but I don't know the legal side. I feel like right now is not the time to divorce because I imagine if they divorce and that privilege, spousal privilege would go away. I need to get some lawyers on the channel to ask them all these questions that I have on my mind. So I feel like it's not going to happen before the trial. All right. According to Reynolds' attorneys, Mike Gottlieb and Ezra Hudson, that doesn't legally qualify as defamation. How does that not legally qualify as defamation, especially when you say it to agents? And Ari Emanuel admitted that is why he fired Justin Baldoni. So Justin can show what happened as a result of Ryan calling him that. The entirety of Mr. Baldoni's case appears to be based on Mr. Reynolds allegedly privately calling Mr. Baldoni a predator, but here's the problem. That's not defamation unless they can show that Mr. Reynolds did not believe that statement to be true. Gottlieb and Hudson said in a statement, the complaint doesn't allege that. In fact, it suggests the opposite, that Mr. Reynolds genuinely believes Mr. Baldoni is a predator. All right. They say Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to express his opinion of Mr. Baldoni, which should be comforting to a group of people who have repeatedly called Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds bullies and other names over the past year. Gottlieb and Hudson add. I don't understand that statement. I genuinely don't understand what they're going for there. Doubling down on calling Justin Baldoni a predator just comes across more as a bully to me. Like, am I the one going crazy? I feel like this case is making me crazy, but does anyone else feel like that? Or maybe I am completely misreading the intentionality behind this statement. But to me, well, yeah, and that's true. I mean, I'm not American, but anyone has a right to free speech in Canada as well. But it doesn't mean that you're free from the repercussions of your words. It doesn't mean that because you're allowed to say whatever you want, that people can't sue you for defamation. And I don't understand why it'd be comforting to a group of people who have repeatedly called Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds bullies. Is it comforting because it confirms that they're bullies? Are his lawyers saying that we should be comforted because it confirms that he is a bully? I am comforted that, yes, we are correct that he is a bully. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, lawyers. They're definitely both out of touch with people's perception of everything they're doing. I think so as well. Blake's lawyers shake every time the phone rings. It's like get a twitch, an anxious twitch. I actually used to get that. I had so many apps on my phone, and I have to be careful with notifications because I would start to twitch whenever my phone would go off. I don't know. When did Justin ever say they were bullies? I think they're speaking to us. Is what I imagine. That's the intention I get, is they're speaking to us. But I mean, for me, it just makes the whole situation worse because doubling down, especially when you start to break down the motion to dismiss, doubling down on me just makes him more of a bully. All I see is Deadpool here. And all I see in my mind is that how TJ Miller spoke about how Ryan was like belittling him as Deadpool shooting that scene. A spokesperson for Reynolds dismissed Baldoni's lawsuit as an attempt to go after the actor for living the very values Baldoni claims to stand for. The claims filed against Mr. Reynolds are simply a list of grievances attempting to shame him for being the man Mr. Baldoni has built his brand pretending to be, a man who is confident enough to listen to the woman in his life. Oh, fourth wall break. This is all a fourth wall break. It is wild. I feel like we're not even in the same dimension. We're in like the multiverse of madness this year, for real. Like legitimately in the this is why we don't need another Marvel movie about the multiverse of madness, because we are literally living in it. something happened when we crossed the threshold into 2025. This is bizarre to me. They constantly, Blake and Ryan, use Justin's, misrepresent his words, and then use them against him. I think everyone should listen, but it doesn't mean that you then believe all women. And does that then mean? So, okay, so you listen to your wife then, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Deadpool. You listen to your wife and then you create a character nice pool to bully the person and then off him? That's how we're meant to listen? That's what Justin was trying to tell us to do. So Justin was trying to tell us, okay, I think I'm following the thread now. Justin was trying to tell us that you listen to the accusations and then you create a nice pool character to bully the person. Yikes. That is wild, saying that this man is fashioning his brand after Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I'm just being the man Baldoni wants me to be. Oh, hello. Finally caught a live. Good to see you. It's so nice to see you. This filing is completely insane. I haven't even gone through it. Yesterday was just a day. I was like, I cannot go live last night. So I was waiting for you guys. I'm hanging out. So a lot of this I am seeing for the first time. I did a quick skim of it last night. We look forward to this lawsuit being dismissed and to collecting on Steve Sarowitz $100 million pledge by recovering Mr. Reynolds' costs and attorney's fees incurred to toss this frivolous case. Why does Ryan seem to have such an issue with Sarowitz money? Does he not like being like the wealthiest person in the room? Is that a concern of his? It's so bizarre. Hey, P, it's so nice to see you. Remember Ryan's interview where he said he loved killing Nice Pool, right? Ryan's got some bizarre fixation on Steve Sarowitz and his money. And, for someone that's so concerned about, he keeps talking about, it was alleged that I called Justin a sexual predator. That's alleged. Well, where's the proof that Steve Sarowitz was talking about this $100 million that he's willing to spend? That seems alleged to me. But it's okay for Blake and Ryan to make all these alleged statements and they have to be taken as fact, but no one else can because he doesn't have billions. I agree. He's jealous. Yeah. It's a weird fixation with this guy. On February 18th, Lively filed an updated version of her original December 2024 lawsuit, claiming that two unidentified females in It Ends With Us co-stars will testify about Baldoni's allegedly inappropriate behavior on the movie set. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Freeman, called the amended complaint underwhelming, I agree, and filled with unsubstantial hearsay of unnamed persons who are clearly no longer willing to come forward or publicly support her claims. I also agree with that. Everyone seems to have backed off once Justin's case came forward. Ryan's motion alleges that, again, that billionaire Steve Sarowitz, one of the plaintiffs in the suit, pledged up to $100 million to ruin Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds. Alleged, Ryan. But they are such hypocrites. All right, let's look at the document. Again, just for another warning, I'm not pretending to be a lawyer. I would be reading this on my own today, but I get to read it with all my friends. We get to chat about it as we go. Okay. So this is in support of the defendant, Ryan Reynolds' motion to dismiss the amended complaint. All right, let's have a look. Scroll past all this. Introduction. And then what we'll do is we'll go through this. Oh my gosh, it's 38 pages. These people like to talk. We'll go through this. I'm not going to say we're going to read every single word, but we'll read most of it. And then we'll look at two lawyers because there was a couple places that I wanted to, oh my gosh, there's a dog here that I can't find. I got it. There's a couple places from the two lawyers that I want to talk about. I really liked their perspective on a few things. And again, I don't know the law, but it was aligned with what I was feeling and what I was thinking. So we'll play a couple of those and then we'll check Google to see what else goes up. I imagine the next couple of days, we're going to be getting more filings. I can't imagine this is going to be the last one this week. Tomorrow, I have a lot of client calls on Thursday, so I can't necessarily go live if there's new ones, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. All right. Introduction. Blake Lively sued Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Wayfair, Steve Sorowitz, after they collectively launched a retaliatory social manipulation campaign to destroy and bury her because she privately spoke up about sexual harassment and inappropriate conduct that she and others experienced on the set of the film It Ends With Us. Privately? Privately? I don't know if I would call New York Times privately, but all right. I feel like this is going to be stressful. So what does Ryan Reynolds have to do with that, legally speaking, other than being a supportive spouse who has witnessed firsthand the emotional, reputational, and financial devastation Miss Lively has suffered? Nothing. That's just interesting to me. It honestly sounds like Ryan wrote this. What do I have to do with this, Judge? Let me out of this. I have nothing to do with this. Financial devastation. Y'all just say that you're jealous of Sarowitz and you can't afford this lawsuit anymore. Mr. Reynolds is a defendant in this action for one reason and one reason only. I feel like discovery is going to show more than one reason, but I imagine there's going to be issues. I want to speak to a lawyer. Maybe I'll see if I can get two lawyers here. I'll see if I can get them here. Because for me, yes, spousal privilege, but they also run the marketing company together. They're business partners. She's admitted they don't do anything without each other. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that's parsed, because I believe it isn't just because he called him a predator. But that's my belief. Mr. Reynolds is a defendant in this action for one reason, because billionaire plaintiff Steve Sorowitz promised to spend up to $100 million to ruin Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds. Oh, so he's not even involved because he called Justin a sexual predator, just because Steve Sorowitz. We are starting story time with having to call out Steve Sorowitz money again. Oh my goodness. Hello. It's so nice to have you here. It's weird how much Ryan and Blake's documents echo their voice. It is. I think they must have dictated a lot of them, especially this, what do I have to do with this? Nothing. That sounds like something I would say to a lawyer, to my lawyer in this situation. What do I have to do with this? Nothing, man. Get me out of this. There's a big chunk of Ryan's voice scattered through this. I bet my eyes, he has at least involved in writing sections of this. They have to have authorship, right? I just don't understand that that's how you open this. What does he have to do with it? And not because of calling him a predator. Ryan's only here because Steve has billions of dollars. The First Amendment complaint that Sorowitz and his co-plaintiffs filed seeks to fulfill that promise by polluting this court's docket, oh my gosh, with hundreds of paragraphs of clickbait designed for an audience other than this court, with virtually no bearing on this entire thing is clickbait. I'm going to try to avoid screaming into the mic so you guys don't go deaf. This entire thing is clickbait. This entire thing is for the audience. This is Ryan breaking the fourth wall again. I don't know if it applies to legal stuff, but he is breaking the fourth wall again. And they have the audacity. I have said this all along about Ryan and Blake. When what they accuse other people of, they're showing their cards on what they do. I've said that every single time. They are always showing their cards on what they're doing. Yes, please hit the like button, guys. It helps the algorithm. We are still recovering here after I was talking about Black Box. And then, just as the account was recovering, I had to open my mouth and talk about it again. So, there's that. So like and subscribe. Story time. Yeah. We know how they like rewriting stories. Absolutely. But anyway, that's something I always, whenever I look at them and what they accuse others of, I honestly believe part of their problem, Blake and Ryan, is they assume that if they're doing certain things to other people, that other people must be doing that to them. I genuinely believe that. The Wayfair parties have described the FAC as their most recent attempt to put all the evidence before the court and the public. Emphasis in original. That is a damning concession given the lack of actual evidence supporting any legally claim against Mr. Reynolds. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by oh my gosh, I hope they're not eating oh, they caught something. Oh, I think they caught a little snake. My ducks are running around outside, and I think they caught something. That makes me sad. Yeah, there's no evidence for Blake then. Again, what we're just doing is accusing one person of what we do. The Wayfair Party's so-called receipts include annotated excerpts, many with heavy redactions made by some unidentified person, of emails, text messages, videos, and photographs, such as large colored paragraphs comparing Mr. Reynolds' long hairstyle in a movie with Mr. Baldoni's long hairstyle at some point in his real life. But the FAC is a pleading, not a gossip brag. Ugh, this is going to be hard to get through, guys. I'm not going to lie. And these so-called receipts failed to establish the requisite elements of a single one of the many causes of alleged or action alleged against Mr. Reynolds. The Wayfair Party's attempt but failed to assert 6 causes of action as to Mr. Reynolds. Each fails to plead facts sufficient to establish a prima facie case as a matter of law. For example, the plaintiffs collectively assert a claim for defamation without pleading a single complete statement or identifying the time or place of such statement, nor can they because no such defamatory statement exists. Didn't they say a time? Wasn't it at the premiere of one of the movies that Ryan called Justin a predator and talked to the representative at WME? That's how they out themselves. Projection. I agree. You know, the judge is getting tired of them. That's what I said yesterday. That's what I said yesterday to one of the community members that sends me all like the docket updates so I could stay up to date on them. I was like, the judge has got to be getting tired of them. I have my arms and legs crossed. Judge, let's them amend. Yeah, BF is going to tear them apart. I can't wait to see it. Do you see how legal documents are written now? Like it's some salacious novel? Yes, this is written like a salacious novel. Hey, Colleen Hoover, this is how you write something juicy, by the way. Oh, it's so true. Ryan pretending that you can't get sued for even a single defamatory statement if it leads to significant damages is funny. Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's the thing. To choose the words, it's not like he said to someone, oh God, he's such an idiot. I hate that guy. Sexual predator was very intentional to take down his career, and it did. So I don't know how he, like, that is hilarious that he thinks that just because it was one thing, I just said sexual predator, that I can't be held responsible for it. But anyway, I swear that Justin talks about, or his team talks about, it was at the one premiere. Further, the entirety of plaintiff's defamation claims appears to be based on 2 times that Mr. Reynolds allegedly called Mr. Baldoni a predator, but the FAC alleges no plausible facts that suggest Mr. Reynolds did not believe his comment to be true. Instead, okay, I'm just going to interrupt again here. Even if you believe, I don't know, running around spreading that in any workplace, the relevant FAC alleges against or suggests that Mr. Reynolds genuinely, perhaps passionately believes Mr. Baldoni's behavior is reflective of a predator. Even if the FAC plausibly alleges that Mr. Reynolds called Mr. Baldoni a predator while believing the opposite, which it does not, the law establishes that calling someone a predator amounts to constitutionally protected opinion. Why are they leaving out the first part of the word? So didn't he call him a sexual predator? And even then, when we hear a word, we create an image for it in our subconscious mind. And I don't imagine any of us have a predator image of like a sweet little kitten or something being innocent. We all have a subconscious picture of what predator means. And it's not someone that's good. But I could have swore it was sexual predator, but they keep leaving that word out. And the FAC's thin-skinned outrage over a movie character, the satirical woke nice pool, does not even pretend to be tied to any actual legal claims. Instead, it falls into the FAC's general allegations of hurt feelings, which in reality is nothing more than a desperate effort to advance the same curated bullying image that the Wayfair parties created and disseminated in the retaliation campaign they launched against Miss Lively in August of 2024. So they're not even, this is interesting for me because they're not even denying it. They're not even saying, but Nice Pool isn't even against him. And here's the proof. Like, we have proof that Nice Pool isn't even about him. They're not even doing that. What? Yeah, didn't Ryan go up to the guy and say, keep Justin or that predator away from my wife? Something like that. Yeah. That's so getting made fun of through Easter eggs that are barely even Easter eggs because they're so obvious, and then killed on screen in a very violent way is just you have thin skin. I don't know. That's not the world I want to live in if we can treat people like that. And it's just like we're teaching the like children and youth that are coming up as well that what it's okay as long as it's in a movie. It's okay as long as, you're bullying someone online. It's okay as long as you're bullying someone in, a press release or in junkets. That's okay. What are we teaching kids? They have daughters, for crying out loud. That's what you want to teach your daughters? That just take it? All the other claims fail for similar reasons. The Wayfair parties say that I feel like I'm going to need like I don't know, Xanax or something. I don't even have them, but I should have got some to read this. I haven't read it. Like I said, you guys are getting real-time reaction, and this is what I would be saying if I was on my own. So don't take this as legal advice, anyone. I don't know what I'm talking about legally. This argument gets so much worse. Oh, yay. But Blake doesn't have thin skin for refusing to come to work because she heard that he asked about her weight. Well, that's also a very good point. You're going to get so much more upset. Gaslighting 101. Hello, it's so nice to see you in the chat. Ryan is becoming Deadpool in real life. Yeah, that line has been blurred. All the other claims fail for similar reasons. The Wayfair parties say that Mr. Reynolds extorted them, but failed to allege that he received any money or property. They claim he interfered with a contract without identifying what that contract is, what provisions were allegedly breached, or even which of them were parties to it. Wouldn't that come out in discovery, though? And again, I don't know. I'm genuinely going to try to get the two lawyers here so I can ask all my questions. But I feel like that would come out in discovery, no? Isn't that the whole point of discovery? They assert $400 million in damages without explaining anything about who suffered that loss and what proportion as a result of which claims or what approximately caused such losses. I mean, I don't think it's hard to guess what caused those losses. The FAC is long on hyperbole. It's hyperbolic, guys, but not Ryan and Blake. They're not. They're not. And it's devoid of facts, but Blake's lack of facts are facts. It is, in essence, oh my gosh, what is happening here? Okay, I genuinely have to ask because I haven't been sleeping well. Am I dreaming right now? Can somebody... What? This is a legal document? It is, in essence, a burn book. Now we're in Mean Girls. Wow. Filled with grievances, attempting to shame Mr. Reynolds for being the kind of man who is confident enough to listen to the woman in his life and to hold her anguish and actually stand with her. Oh, the FAC is, I'm going to try not to comment on everything. The FAC, or we're going to be here all day. The FAC is in some a textbook retaliatory slap suit, and it should be dismissed with prejudice. I hope Ryan's ass gets dragged to court in 2026. I can't imagine this is going to get dismissed, but Wayfair parties have asserted a grab bag of claims against Mr. Reynolds and their FAC, including civil distortion. I feel distorted from all this. Civil extortion, defamation, false light invasion of privacy, intentional interference with contractual relations. I mean, yeah, I imagine he was in a contract with WME. Intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. Yeah. Intentional interference claims and negligent interference with prospective economic advantage. But the thing is, just calling someone a sexual predator can do all those things. You can't tell me you didn't know that saying those words would cause this result. One of the two lawyers did say he was disappointed in the attorneys who wrote this argument. That's good. I haven't seen, I streamed it while I was getting ready this morning to pick out a couple spots again. But yeah, they did seem not overly impressed. What makes me so mad is that they think we're all so stupid and can't see right through them. It's so obvious they live in a Delulu house of yes, where they are never told no. Yeah, exactly. Despite its length, and the average here's what I want to say is the average person isn't a lawyer. And I always go back and forth between reading legal documents or not here because, well, I'm not a lawyer. I like the two lawyers for this case. I really like lawyer, Peter Tragos. Love him. He is so good. So I love Runkle of the Bailey, another one. Love Andrea Burkhart, another one. Love watching them for legal stuff. And here's the thing. When I read legal documents, I look at it as just all of us hanging out, and you guys see my real life reaction while I see your guys' reaction. You guys are usually ahead of me. You've already seen it by the time we get here. But also, when we think of the jury isn't lawyers. The jury is just people like us that are sitting on that jury, and they're seeing what's presented to them. So I also believe that sometimes it's actually nice to just hang out with other people that aren't lawyers and see what everyone's saying, because at the end of the day, a jury is a jury of your peers. And so it's just essentially random people that are going to be on the jury. They don't know the legal side of it. Yes, it's the lawyer's job to kind of bring them in the loop on it, but they're going to look at this shit, I imagine, like us, and be like, WTF is going on? Despite its length, the FAC alleges only a few isolated acts by Mr. Reynolds. With respect to the defamation claim, the FAC does not plead a single complete statement published by Mr. Reynolds. The only hint that the purported statements that are alleged to form the basis of the defamation claim is the following assertion. The Lively parties made one or more statements to persons other than the Wayfair parties, including without limitation to the New York Times, to the effect that the Wayfair parties engaged in, permitted, and or failed to prevent sexually inappropriate conduct toward Lively and others, and that the Wayfair parties retaliated against Lively and others for reporting the alleged sexual misconduct, including by propagating false and misleading narratives about Lively for the purpose of damaging her image and reputation. Only two allegations in the FAC even generously match that description with respect to statements. Her publicist, Leslie Sloan, went so far as to propagate malicious stories portraying Baldoni as a sexual predator, term Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, also used to describe Baldoni when he called Baldoni's own agent statement. Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agency, namely an executive at WME. I'm assuming who they're referring to here is Ari Emanuel, and expresses deep disdain for Baldoni, suggesting the agency was working with a sexual predator. A phrase that uncoincidentally later appeared in the press. Ryan, are you and your wife legit going to try and take the moral high ground about shit that ends up in the press? For real? For real. You're going to try and take the moral high ground when Blake threw the first punch, and it was a sucker punch with the New York Times article that they had been colluding on because people found the metadata. You're really going to try and take the moral high ground here? All right. I also want to hear Elsie's take on this. Her and I are organizing a collaboration on the channel for you guys. She's a hoot. I love her. We've played a lot of her content here previously as well. Ask Two Lawyers did a great read on. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to them. Sometimes it's a little harder as a smaller account to get the attention of people like that, but we will try, or I will try. We can try too. You guys can mention it to them too. Apart from those two statements, the totality of the FAC's allegations against Mr. Reynolds are that Mr. Reynolds, 1, demanded that the Wayfair parties publicly apologize for so-called mistakes during production of the film. 2, was present during a meeting at the apartment that he shared with Miss Lively, at which he praised Miss Lively's version of a scene in Mr. Baldoni's presence. 3, allegedly contributed some writing of his own. Allegedly. Your wife said you did. Oh my goodness. Now we don't believe Blake. Now even Blake's own statements are allegedly. Who's going to listen to her anyway? Women, am I right? Like, it's basically what Ryan's saying here. while also saying, what? I'm just being the man Justin wants me to be, but women, am I right? Allegedly contributed some writing of his own to the script. I bet Blake is regretting opening her mouth on that red carpet. 4, admonish Mr. Baldoni for asking about Miss Lively's weight and demand that scene be removed from the film. So that's not alleged. That's true. 5, attended a meeting with Miss Lively to address her allegations of SH on set and demand that Mr. Baldoni apologize for his conduct. 6, unfollow Mr. Baldoni on social media. That's such a Taylor Swift thing. And I know there's Taylor Swift things on Taylor Swift fans here. If I even like say anything about Taylor, I immediately see my subscribers go go in the toilet. But that's a Taylor Swift thing. That's what they do. That's what that whole clique does is, you know, we don't like this person anymore, so we just unfollow them on social media like we're 14. Did you see Elsie's post on Colleen Hoover? I was talking to her yesterday about it. That's what I was filming. That's why I was late for this video. I filmed my take on it, but also Colleen Hoover's Human Design and Astrology. So that will be posted later for you guys today. But yes, Elsie's such a hoot. I love her. I wish I was funny like her. Blake suggested her own statement on that was media misquoting in her crazy letter, the screenwriter. Yeah. Don't believe my words. Don't believe me and my actual words. These people are out to lunch. 7 included the nice pool character in Deadpool and Wolverine that the FAC alleges was meant to satirize Mr. Baldoni's persona as a woke feminist. Again, they're not denying it. I haven't not seen anywhere, and you guys, I think, have also, you're hella funny. I feel like I'm funny, like from a perspective of, I don't know. I don't think I am, but thank you guys. That makes me feel better. Okay, the legal standard in reviewing a motion dismissed under Fed R Civ P 126B. Federal something. The court accepts all factual allegations as true and draws all reasonable inferences in the plaintiff's favor. However, and then they give us a case there. I won't read the case names. I literally start sweating trying to pronounce names when I do live video. However, requirement is inapplicable to legal conclusions and through bare recitals of the elements of a cause of action supported by mere conclusatory statements do not suffice. Quoting another case, a complaint must offer more than labels and conclusions. You know, I feel like they're telling on Blake here. Like, she's just using labels and conclusions on her own side. She's just using doctored messages. She's just, believe me, bro, is Blake's case right now. I genuinely do not believe if Blake had text messages between her and Ryan or her and Taylor or her and Gigi, that those text messages in some way wouldn't have been leaked, even if the name was redacted. So you didn't see that was to Taylor Swift. I genuinely do not believe that they would, and it's possible. There is a world where maybe they would have. But for people that went to the New York Times and started this mess, I just do not believe it. All right, what's his argument? The claims against Mr. Reynolds fail under both New York and California law. While the Wayfair parties appear to agree with Miss Lively that California law applies to the allegations in the case she filed, that does not answer what lies. Oh my, lies. See, that's all I can read with these people. I keep having Freudian slips. I keep saying lies because it is lies. What law applies to the Wayfair parties' claims against Mr. Reynolds? The choice of law may vary by defendant and also by specific claim, even against the same party. I do wonder, I genuinely wonder how to parse all of this because, oh, sorry guys, I always get nervous now that the ducks free range now that something's after them. So if you see me looking to my left, it's because I'm trying to keep an eye on my ducks that are loose. I do feel that seems to be very complicated. There's a lot of people involved. And as well, I don't know how it works because if, say, in an alternate universe, I think we're in an alternate universe anyway this year. So say in an alternate universe, Blake and Ryan are like, you know what? We've realized that we need to settle. How do you settle when so many people are involved on the other side? Like, it's not just Justin. I believe the issue with Ryan is that he can't control Justin yet. He can't handle someone not bowing down to him. Ryan is doing this to show what he will do to anyone not bowing down to him. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Hey, Haley, nice to see you in the chat. Okay, so just talking about the place, jurisdiction. I don't know. We don't need to read that. The court should dismiss all the 6 causes of action as to Mr. Reynolds with prejudice. The FAC fails to state a claim for defamation against Mr. Reynolds. The defamation claims fails as a matter of law. It's factually deficient because the FAC does not identify a single allegedly defamatory statement published by Mr. Reynolds, including either of the predator statements. I love that they keep, like, it can't be a coincidence that they're leaving sexual out here. Like, to try and distance him. Like, Mr. Reynolds, and he just said he's a predator. Like, predators can be your cute cat. You know, they can be cuddly too. It's not bad. Moreover, to state a claim for slander, a plaintiff must plead a defamatory statement of fact that is false, published to a third party of the concern of and concerning the plaintiff, made with the applicable level of fault on the part of the speaker, either causing special harm or constituting slander per se, and not protected by privilege. I mean, calling him a sexual predator to Leslie, WME reps, like, this all seems to fit. I'm still confused why they think that it doesn't fit. Like, you can't call someone a sexual predator knowing what it's going to do to their career, knowing that you apparently have a ride or die in Ari Emanuel, and just be like, I didn't know. I had no idea. I think Ryan has released a fire-breathing dragon, Brian Freeman, with this motion. I could not be a lawyer. I would have serious heart health issues. I would have serious heart health issues. It reminds me of the scene in Friends where it's like an alternate reality kind of thing, and Phoebe's in the hospital because she's working too hard from stress and she has heart issues, but she's still working. Like, that would be me. That is wild. I think Blake and Ryan are now officially using different strategies. That's a good point too. Blake has walked hers back in her amended complaint to possibly unintentional actions, and he's doubling down with predator talk. That is a great point, actually. And even her PR strategy, thank you for pointing that out, my friend. Even her PR strategy is like, look, I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm baking cookies at home with my kids. So I got some great questions from you guys of, is that SEO manipulation? What's coming out with her and the kids? That's called reputation laundering. Now, reputation laundering is kind of like money laundering, if you will. It doesn't have to be used in a manipulative way. Like, maybe a star or a public figure or an entrepreneur or CEO had a scandal. You reputation launder them. So it kind of like makes, you're trying to improve their image after the scandal. No one's perfect. Shit happens. But what it looks like for reputation laundering is like, okay, she's seen as this diva. She's seen as, elitist, if you will. But look, no, we're going to change her image. She's just like you. I've said previously, it doesn't tend to work from a branding perspective, because what you're also doing with this big of a reputation laundering jump is you're switching the brand archetype someone's operating from. So she's trying to switch from more of the ruler brand archetype to the every woman brand archetype with that. And it doesn't really go well with the public. There are very few cases where that has worked effectively with businesses. All right. The court should dismiss the defamation claim as to Mr. Reynolds because the FAC does not include allegations specific enough to afford him sufficient notice of the communications complained of to enable him to defend himself. Oh, come on, Ryan. The gaslighting. A long line of cases in this district holds that defamation case is only sufficient if it adequately identifies the purported communication and an indication of who made the communication, when it was made, and to whom it was communicated. I feel like we know that. Brian Freeman has said that where it happened. As this court has noted, it is only by pleading the substance of the purported communication that a defendant can challenge. And upon a motion, the court can determine the essential elements of a defamation claim under New York law, including whether the statement was false. So Ryan's really going to go but it's true. So sue me, whether it was capable of defamatory meaning, and whether it was of and concerning the plaintiff. The FAC fails to sufficiently plead the substance of the predator statements, which are the only ones relevant to the defamation claim as to Mr. Reynolds. As to the agent statement, the FAC does not plead what Mr. Reynolds said, when he said it, or any of the context surrounding the conversation during which he reportedly uttered the agent statement, stating only that Mr. Reynolds used the term sexual predator to describe Mr. Baldoni during a phone call with Mr. Baldoni's agent. But Blake can say, but he called me fat. I don't think she's even said where she got that information from. I don't think she has. Here late ranch tours. I understand ranch tours. I definitely understand that. Nothing ever goes how you plan on a farm. Desperado, when will you come to your senses? Doesn't seem like anytime soon. Does not seem like anytime soon. He is just doubling down. Anyone that thought maybe there might be a settlement, he just bombed it. And it is interesting that it does seem like a different approach than Blake. So are they even working together on this stuff? I don't know. Because this even makes me more upset with the whole Blake thing, to be honest. I don't know. The absence of these details makes it impossible, for example, to determine whether the statement falls within the applicable one-year statute of limitations under both New York and California law for defamation. Interesting. I didn't know there was a one-year statute, but I imagine that is exactly what discovery is for. That's what I imagine. So they might be able to prove that it was within the 1 year. Isn't that the whole point of discovery? So that you can get more information on shit? Like, I feel like if you had all the information going in to a lawsuit, why do you need discovery? So this just seems weird to me. But again, not a lawyer. Make sure while you're here, guys, to like and subscribe to the channel for more unhinged legal readings, I suppose. The sole allegation as to the executive statement provides only slightly more detail, namely that Mr. Reynolds and an unnamed executive at WME had a conversation during a movie premiere about Mr. Reynolds' deep disdain for Baldoni, suggesting the agency was working with a sexual predator. That is very problematic still. Like, they're trying to downplay it. The FAC does not allege what precise term Mr. Reynolds used in this alleged suggestion. Didn't he say it was a sexual predator? The sentence in which he allegedly suggested it, or any information about the context of the conversation. In what way does sexual predator the context of the conversation? Ugh. Other than that, one of them was about how much Mr. Reynolds dislikes him for having sexually harassed his wife, which we still have not seen any proof of. And the crazy thing with this whole thing is she walked it back after he released the video, the dance scene video. She walked it back and changed the allegations of what happened. Their nanny makes great cupcakes. Ryan's like, I only slandered him once. Yeah, that will suffice, bro. Exactly. It's like, what? I only said it like once, maybe twice. Boo-hoo. Not my fault. I honestly think these two have just never been held accountable for their actions. I also think Ryan, based on what he said about his family, if it's true, although I've also heard rumors that apparently some of the stuff he's claimed isn't even true, but there might even be trauma issues if it's actually true on what went on. Maybe he's just always been messed up. I don't know. All right, where was I? Such bare bones pleadings fail to satisfy Rule 8 and warrant dismissal of a slander claim. Again, as someone that would potentially be on a jury, hearing that Ryan was going around and told, like, him and Leslie Sloan are having that conversation, from my understanding, and telling agents at WME, and then we have Ari Emanuel with this lost footage, wink, this lost footage which came out anyway, which is hilarious. This lost footage of Ari Emanuel being like, yeah, I fired that Baloney, or what is his name, Baldoni, because of what he did. So we actually have Ari Emanuel confirming that he fired Justin Baldoni based on what Blake and Ryan were alleging happened or said happened. So I don't understand how much more black and white it needs to be. It seems pretty black and white to me. The predator statements are unactionable opinion. I can say whatever I want, man. It's my opinion. Not really how it works. As a threshold matter, this sounds like, have you guys watched the TikTok psychic trial at all? Let me know in the comments if you guys have heard about that. His defense here reminds me of the TikTok psychic who doesn't even have a lawyer. I'm pretty sure she's representing herself. And she's like, what? You can't sue me. This is my opinion from my guides. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's wild. I don't know if you guys heard about that. She made videos saying that 7. Where are my other ducks? She made not aware. It is wild. So this TikTok psychic made videos claiming that this professor, this woman at the university, I can't remember if it was she hired too many people, Brian whatever, Koberger. I think it was that she hired Brian Koberger because they were having an affair or something. But anyway, she made these videos on TikTok and on YouTube. This TikTok psychic, I don't know her real name. I don't want to give traffic to her anyway. Basically defaming this woman and saying that she was behind the murders. And then in court, she's like, what? It's my opinion. And the court's like, yeah, no, you cannot claim that it is truth that someone was involved in murdering people and just be like, what? My guides told me it's protected. It's my opinion. But this reminds me so much of that case, Ryan's argument, which is a wild case. And I feel bad for the professor. As a threshold matter, because there is no such thing as a false idea, courts must distinguish between statements of fact, which may be defamatory, and expressions of opinion, which are not defamatory. Sexual predator is defamatory. Instead, opinions receive absolute protection under the New York Constitution. Like, I could see if someone's like, oh, Blake Lively, she's such a bitch, man. Like, are you going to sue someone for saying that? I don't know. I feel like everyone in Hollywood anyway would be like, oh, yeah. But there's no way someone does not realize using those two words and saying it to specific people in the industry would be a massive catalyst for losing jobs, losing his place at WME, being blacklisted. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. The predator statements constitute unactionable opinion because they have no precise meaning. Okay. Are not capable of being objectively characterized as true or false and are merely a general reflection of the speaker's viewpoint. As another court in this district has explained, courts have recognized that words like scum, predators, oh, is that why they keep leaving out sexual in terms of describing what was actually happening? But still, sexual predators and predators, two totally different contexts, greedy crooks, and criminals preying on street art culture are vague and precise statements of hyperbolic natures or considered unactionable opinion. Use of colorful language such as predator, victimized, or face of evil are not actionable in and of themselves. I still don't see calling someone a sexual predator to his boss as being included here. They're just saying, like, they're just being hyperbolic, guys. Like, it's the same as calling someone crazy. It's a hyperbolic expression of opinion. Same with evil and animal or shameless. I don't like, is it just me? What do you guys think about this? Like, to me, it's a totally different game when we're looking at saying sexual predator, especially to people that you know are going to ruin his life. Like, by saying that, it's going to ruin his life. Predator is not colorful. Fuck, it's colorful. Agree. Good point. Sexual predator is a defined criminal term. Valid point. That is very true. It's not slang. That is a great point. All right, where were we? These First Amendment principles ought to be obvious to and even celebrated by a group of litigants who have spent most of their past few months calling Mr. Reynolds and his wife bullies and liars. I haven't really. Okay, what? So are they saying because I haven't even heard Justin call anyone a bully or a liar publicly? I don't even think he's spoken. He's taken the path that Blake and Ryan should have taken and gone on vacay for a bit. I have not seen anyone on Justin's side, I could be wrong, running around calling people bullies and liars. If he's talking about lawyers, I still don't see how you can compare sexual predator with bully. I just don't see the link there. The FAC fails to plead. And the thing that I want to say too, in regards to that, to me, it also matters the context of who you said it to. If you're saying it to Ari Emanuel, who you know is going to now fire Justin and he's going to be blacklisted from the industry, that's different than, Blake and Ryan talking privately in their house. The FAC fails to plead any facts indicating that Mr. Reynolds' statement could be reasonably understood to have been an assertion of fact capable of being proven false rather than a pure opinion that is not actionable under the laws of New York. While the FAC fails to provide sufficient the predator statements, which alone is grounds for dismissal, the limited context it does provide militates in favor of finding that they are assertions of opinion. The FAC alleges that Mr. Reynolds made the predator statements during a phone conversation with Mr. Baldoni's agent and at a movie premiere during a conversation with a WME exec, during which Mr. Reynolds was expressing his deep disdain for Mr. Baldoni, which is utterly fatal under the opinion doctrine because it is plainly reflective of Mr. Reynolds' unabashed negative opinion of Mr. Baldoni's character. So it's like, I can say whatever I want because it's my opinion. That's not how it works. This is the TikTok psychic case. This is wild. It's us calling Ryan a bully, not Justin. Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait for Brian's response. Oh my goodness. Seriously. What? That's what it's just sad. For me, just own up to it, right? Just own up to it. No one's perfect. I don't believe anyone is perfect. Stupid shit happens. Things are said. But to double down, just own up to the behavior, man. Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to hold Mr. Baldoni or any man who Mr. Reynolds believes sexually harassed his wife in deep disdain. So here's the thing. Well, yeah, of course. If you believe someone treated your wife like that, obviously you're going to hold it in deep disdain. Should you go around telling the exec of WME? I don't know. Maybe if you think that's the right thing to do, but it still doesn't protect you from defamation. But also, I genuinely do not believe that Ryan Reynolds believes that Justin harassed his wife. I genuinely do not believe that. If he truly believed that, how do you create a character of nice people around it rather than going to the police? Rather than instead of making accusations of being a sexual predator, provide the proof and go to the right people. That's why I genuinely do not believe that he believes Blake was harassed. Just triple down. That's the approach they're taking. Just triple down. You must accept your mistakes and grow. Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes. I genuinely believe no one is perfect. And that's why it upsets me so much that Blake and Ryan continually use Justin's admitting of his own mistakes against him. Because no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. Just own up to it. And that's what Justin did. And I think that should be an example for everyone of We all make mistakes. We all do things we regret, but you have two options within it. When you realize you did something that wasn't maybe in alignment with who you want to be, is you can double down on it or you can heal and change. And shouldn't we be supporting people that are choosing to heal and change? Shouldn't we be lifting those people up and using them as an example, especially for younger generations, to say, hey, it's okay. It's okay to admit you were wrong. That's what I say to my clients all the time. They're building brands. I'm like, don't double down. Why would you double down? Just me, like, I made a mistake. No one's perfect. Why not go to union? Exactly. You don't parody him. You kick his butt. You file complaints. Yeah. That's why I genuinely do not believe he thought they want to delay. Hello, Mel. It's so nice to see you. Delay with ridiculous dismissal strategies. I can't get my head around the fact that he believed that, which then makes it, to me, malicious and intent to destroy him by telling people that. And the FAC does not allege any plausible facts that would remotely suggest, let alone establish, that anyone interpreted Mr. Reynolds' statements as reflecting anything other than his genuinely held belief about Mr. Baldoni's character. The court should dismiss the defamation claim as to Mr. Reynolds with prejudice because of predator statements. I just love how they keep leaving out the full statement. Because you don't want to keep saying Mr. Reynolds said sexual predator over and over again, because this is, as much as it's written for the court, I think this is actually written for the public. If the predator statements are not opinion, they are substantially true. Okay, so it's, well, even if it's not opinion, they're true, so I'm still protected. The public loves the prodigal son. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, it's so nice to see you, KS. Do we think Dick was trying to get Lyman to move up to the court date? Oh, maybe. To move the court date up. Interesting. This is exactly the kind of thing the judge said not to do. Good point. He did say that. Interesting. Ooh, I hadn't considered that. It's very possible. Yeah, it's very possible. Even if the predator statements were verifiable as fact, they are not actionable as defamation because they are substantially true. He's like just doubling down harder and harder and harder as he goes. It's so nice to see you, KS. Thank you for being here. The Second Circuit has held that whether statements are substantially true is appropriate for resolution and a motion to dismiss, because falsity is an element of New York's defamation tort, and falsity refers to materials not substantially true. The complaint in this case must plead facts that, if proven, would establish that the defendant's statements were not substantially true. All right, we're going to go down. The FAC includes numerous references to conduct that a reasonable observer could well consider predatory. In particular, the FAC relies on now they're bringing the books in. They're not bringing the books in, are they? In particular, the FAC relies on Mr. Baldoni's books, Boys Will Be Human and Man Enough, and his podcast, Man Enough, even going so far as to declare that anyone who knows Baldoni would have knowledge of the contents of Mr. Baldoni's books. Relying on statements made on Mr. Baldoni's podcast. In ruling on a motion to dismiss, a court may consider documents possessed by or known to the plaintiff and upon which it relied in bringing the suit. The court may consider the full text of documents that are cited in, incorporated by, referenced in, or integral to the complaint. Those materials with which anyone who knows about Mr. Baldoni would be familiar include numerous admissions to behavior that could, there we go. You are doing what I was hoping you weren't doing. You're right, KS. Was it KS saying that? I wonder if they're trying to get the date moved up, because this seems well beyond what you need to put here. And I think actually the two lawyers, one of the timestamps I have that we're going to watch, they talk about that. This must be what they're talking about, because I had not read this. Those materials with which anyone who knows about Mr. Baldoni would be familiar include numerous admissions to behavior that could reasonably be described as predatory. Example, Jane Randall, Boys Will Be Human, a talk on healthy masculinity with Justin Baldoni, YouTube. They're like going, wow. Saying that I'm sure I've crossed boundaries and lines in my teens and 20s, not even thinking about it, simply because of my corn I was consuming. So they are going after and taking out of context everything he said. And they're going back to like teens. Ryan, we all saw the videos of you, Elsie pulled them up, of you talking about staring at women while they breastfeed, and those videos that came out with Olivia Wilde, where you didn't take your hands off her chest after they called cut. That's a good point, April. This might confuse some of the public that is not following closely, that hasn't watched JB's podcast. Yeah, and I think that's a big piece of it, right? I think they are like crossing over the threshold of what they're supposed to do to try and sway public opinion, maybe those people that aren't really following it. And I don't know. Can the judge lay into them over this? Because I hope the judge does. And interesting that they say anyone who knows this content would call Justin predatory. Did that ever come up in Justin's entire career where people were starting to say, you know, have you seen this book by Justin Baldoni? Like, he's a sexual predator. Like, I have concerns about him. No, I have not seen anything. So no, Ryan, who clearly wrote this because you're so butthurt over friggin' Sarowitz billions of dollars. This is just, it really frustrates me. It is just sickening. Oh, we have a footnote here. Admitting to relaying distributors' concerns and the widespread social media criticism about Miss Lively's appearance. Yeah, admitted to relaying distributors' concerns and widespread social media criticism. Guys, was anyone looking at social media back when photos leaked of Blake Lively? The public was like, WTF. I was even like, I hadn't even read the book and I couldn't believe how she was dressed in it. I was like, that's horrible. Admitting to suggesting Miss Lively's character orgasm during the scene, admitting to telling Miss Lively that the onesie she was wearing underneath her jacket was sexy. It's a costume, and I think that was taken out of context as well. Admitting to casting her friend or his friend. No, he did not cast his friend for the birth scene so he would be close proximity to Blake Lively's crotch. That is not what happened. These people. The Man Enough podcast, Jamie Camille changing the narrative, YouTube, March 14th, 2022. I grew up and I had an addiction to corn. I was introduced to it at 10 years old, formed these neural pathways in my brain. It caused me to see the world very differently. I think that's a problem for a lot of young men, probably. I think speaking on this is really important. It's also disgusting. What are we talking about? Yeah, this is just, I can't even wrap my head around it, to be honest. Like, I feel so gaslit reading this. I feel so gaslit. I'm wondering if they've got some cash flow issues too, because he just had a buyback max effort from, oh, did he? Interesting. And from Mount MNTN, and max effort channel dropped by all streamers. Interesting. I didn't know that. And I love seeing your puppy every time I pull up your image there. Interesting. I didn't know it. And didn't they just make a huge investment in the sports team that he has that I can't think of off the top of my head? Because that was a huge thing that kept hitting the news. They might have a cash flow issue. They very well could. A Life of Greatness, Justin Baldoni, The Power of Being Enough. They are just listing. Oh my gosh. A Life of Greatness, Justin Baldoni, The Power of Being Enough, Apple Podcast, July 26, 2021. And for me, it was really tricky because I believe that there's a link between essay culture and corn culture. Yeah, I think that's true. I'm not calling out the industry. I'm calling out my relationship or my relation to it. But I do believe, especially the corn that young boys are watching is very violent. And because we never ... no one ever sits us down, teaches us about consent. We learn it through that. I do think there's a big problem with young men consuming that for sure. I just don't, this is so taken out of context, everything. The Man Enough podcast, Joy DeGruy, Access to Respect, YouTube, October 25th, 2021. You write as a Black man or you as a woman have had to put up with a lot of shit from people that look like me and or from me your entire life. And again, it could be laundry or it could be microaggressions for racism or sexism, whatever it is. I've done all of them. Admitting fault and wanting to do better. I agree with you. It's obvious Justin can't settle. Yeah. There's no way he can at this point. He genuinely, I just kicked I can't sit still long enough, so I have to switch position all the time. It's obvious he can't. Ryan is projecting. He is the predator, forced his co-stars to sleep with him. Yeah, there's that whole story too. So many blind items about that. Heaven forbid a person confess to microaggression. So what's the alternative? Not doing better? Continuing with them? This just proves Ryan doesn't know what that word, what that word means. By definition, it's something small and unconscious. Exactly. Well said. Well, is unclear what predator means to, oh, come on. Okay, Ryan, if you're going to say this, do it in good faith. Put the whole statement there that you made. While it is unclear what sexual predator means to the average listener, you didn't just say predator. Don't be fancy like that. We see you. You're trying to be tricky, but we're not that dumb. Well, it's unclear. Well, I guess we are just mommy sleuths to that side. We are just mommy sleuths that have nothing better to do than read this, apparently, to them. So, as they talk about misogyny and patriarchy and supporting women, and they have the audacity to put down women in that article. So much I have to say about that. Oh, I just dumped coffee all over myself. Damn it. Means to the average listener. It's quite clear that there is no discernible distinction between the gist of Mr. Reynolds' purported statements and the very behavior to which Mr. Baldoni has repeatedly confessed to in public appearances, including that he spent years of his life mistreating women. Which he attributes to a lengthy addiction to corn, as well as openly describing his distorted conceptions of consent in sexual relationships. One of the things is mistreating women. One of the things that drives me nuts is they continue to take out of context what he was saying about his wife. And what he was saying about his wife is kind of like her having a voice at the table. Like he wasn't listening to what she was saying, right? He was kind of like deaf to what she was saying in conversation. And so he realized that he needed to let her, not let her, I think that's the wrong way to say it, but he needed to be open to her perspective. It wasn't just about his perspective. It wasn't just about how he saw things. He needed to listen, to use his ears to listen, like Ryan needs to do. Ryan needs to go get his ears cleaned out and start to listen for real and stop taking people's statements out of context. And that's all Justin was saying is like, I needed to sit my ass down and listen rather than pretending I knew it all. I think we can all learn from that because all of us can get really stuck in our perspective, whether it's with our partners, in our romantic relationships, in our business relationships, in our personal relationships, doesn't matter. We all are going to have kind of like biases and tend towards being sometimes bullheaded. We all need to learn how to be more open-minded. We all need to learn how to listen better. I don't understand how they turn this around as something bad. Were this case to go to trial, it would be Mr. Baldoni's burden to prove the factual falsity of the supposed allegations that he is a predator. but the law offers no principled basis for a jury to distinguish that label from Mr. Baldoni's description of his own behavior. That is wild. No one ever called him a predator previously based on his statements. This is wild. This is for the public, which, remember, at the beginning of this, they claimed that Justin was doing that. Who are you writing this for, Ryan? I am just finding substantial truth where an article called plaintiff an adulterer because an average reader would understand. Oh, it's this case. Finding substantial truth where an article called plaintiff an adulterer because an average reader would understand that term to include the admitted truth that he was a man who unabashedly committed adultery for 13 of the last 17 years and whose adulterous behavior ended only because his wife ultimately divorced him. I don't know. That's a stretch. It would be perverse to permit Mr. Baldoni to build an entire It'd be perverse to permit Mr. Baldoni to build an entire brand complete with a podcast, TED Talk, and books off his confessions of repeatedly mistreating women, only to turn around and sue Mr. Reynolds for $400 million for simply pointing out in private. That is, oh my God, there's so much wrong with this. Oh, there's so much wrong with this. Only to turn around and sue Mr. Reynolds for $400 million for simply pointing out in private. It was just Ari Emanuel, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. It was in private. What Mr. Baldoni has bragged about in public. I feel like Justin's in a weird spot right now because what do you do with all of this? Like, I know Brian Freeman we trust. And I feel like he's going to show up for this and it's going to be amazing. And I feel like this is just a weird spot to be in as well. Because, like, do you address this? The hypocrisy. Seriously. Can we ask Ryan's male lawyers how much corn they consumed as a teen? Yeah. Seriously. So, okay, I'm missing the public statement Justin made where he said, I am a sexual predator. I am missing that. I'm missing it. He's now pretending to not know that publishing a defamatory statement under the law is just saying a defamatory thing to a third party. Yep. I honestly think Ryan's mission is to get rid of Justin no matter what it costs him. His jealousy is so obvious. Yeah. I am just shook. I'm thinking they changed the strategy of walking things back because the backlash online got worse. That's a good point. It's the same as why Blake even filed a complaint because of the negativity online. That's actually a good point. But if they respond to this in a petty way, it would look horrible to the judge. Yeah. It's a tricky spot, I feel, that Justin's in right now. Because like us, everyone that knows the case is horrified by this. Yet you have magazines like People, and I know, like, what I hear all the time on my social media is, yeah, but no one, like, those magazines don't matter anymore. They do, unfortunately, because the average person is still going to Google and typing in Justin Baldoni lawsuit news or Blake Lively lawsuit news. And what they're getting is this paid propaganda crap from Glamour and People. So, you know, it is concerning that for us and those following the case, of course, we look at this and we think this is just ridiculous. But to the average person, when you see things like People picking up a certain angle, Glamour picking up a certain angle, it's a tricky. They know what they're doing, though. Ryan knows what they're doing. In fact, I would say he probably sent the pieces he wanted People to put in the magazine. He probably highlighted it and sent it to them. The FAC's fails to plead special damages. Dismissal of the defamation claims is warranted because the FAC does not allege defamation per se, but nonetheless fails to fully and accurately plead special damages with sufficient particularly to identify actual losses. I mean, come on. Even if we look at the actual losses, like the second one, whatever it's called, Starts With Us or whatever. I mean, that alone can't be made. And how much could that have potentially made Justin? So, I mean, even just looking at the bare bones minimum of that project and projects he's lost already, not to mention future projects, I think there's actual losses that you can put 2 and 2 together, Ryan. This particularity requires is strictly applied as defamation claims will be dismissed for failure to allege special damages with the requisite degree of specificity. Far from fully and accurately identifying any harm that flowed directly from the injury to reputation caused by the predator's statements, the FAC generally claims at least 400 million in compensatory damages without explaining what amount, if any, of that astronomical sum allegedly was suffered by Mr. Baldoni versus any of the other Wayfair parties. I feel like if you add up all the Wayfair parties, you're probably getting more than that, to be honest. Or otherwise caused by the predator's statements. Just say it, Ryan. Say it with your full chest. You said it with your full chest before. Stop backtracking and make it seem like I just said he was a predator. Just say it. If you want to stand by your shit, Ryan, stand by it. Put it out there. And every time you say predator, say what you actually said. Because you seem to want to double down, but you want to downplay it every time you say it in this filing. So they're listing court cases. The FAC fails to plead facts demonstrating actual malice. As a public figure, Mr. Baldoni must plead facts demonstrating that Mr. Reynolds uttered the predator statements with actual malice. Oh, come on. In other words, that Mr. Reynolds, in fact, entertained serious doubts as to the truth of this publication. You mean to tell me that you thought it was true, so true that you did not go to the police or your union or Leslie Sloan, who didn't know about this? You didn't go to any of that. You made fun of him as Nice Pool, which you haven't denied at all. I feel like him not denying the Nice Pool thing is him trying to get ahead of it. I feel like in discovery, there's gonna be pretty damning proof in regards to that. And I think he knows that because he didn't deny it at all. And if there was no proof that could potentially come out in discovery and make it to the public about Nice Pool, I honestly feel like he would have just tried to pretend that, no, it wasn't him. What are you talking about? So they list another case. In order to prevail on a defamation claim against a public figure, a plaintiff must demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant acted with actual malice. I think it's pretty obvious. The FAC's conclusory assertion that the lively parties defined to include Mr. Reynolds knew a statement were false or had serious doubts about the truth of the statement. They list some more cases. So yeah, they're doubling down. Ryan has deep disdain for him. He has deep disdain. That's directed at Mr. Baldoni, but he has reason to have that deep disdain. It would be inconsistent with the FAC to find that Mr. Reynolds uttered the predator's statements with actual malice. Indeed, there's not a single plausible factual allegation from which a jury can conclude that Mr. Reynolds does not believe Mr. Baldoni is a predator. I feel like even the lack, I'm just thinking in my head, even just the lack of text messages or anything to me proves the fact they didn't go to the union. They didn't go to Leslie Sloan. The fact they didn't do any of that to me proves that he did not believe that Justin was an actual predator. If you genuinely believe your wife is under this much harassment, either you're reporting it to deal with it, you're taking her off the film because at the end of the day, she didn't even sign her damn contract. She could have just not showed up. She had no obligation to be there. She had no contractual obligation. Or if you don't want to do that, if you actually want the movie and you don't want to report it or whatever, your ass is on set every single day. You are watching them like a hawk. Where was her bodyguard during all of this? She has a personal bodyguard. Her personal bodyguard didn't protect her. She didn't say anything to her personal bodyguard, or, they didn't go to Ryan and say, man, there's like some really sketchy things going on set that you need to be involved in. I think Shapiro is a distraction. He has no clearance, and no one with clearance will F with him because you make crap for 3-letter agencies. Golden ticket to clearance is pot of gold at the end. Yeah, I think he could be a distraction. I also think I've never claimed that his clearance is what gave him power, because he didn't have clearance when he was with Airbnb, right? That was never my claim. There might be people out there saying that that's thing that matters. To me, that's never mattered. To me, it's always been, I'm not going to say the two words because I get dinged every time I say the two words, but that Airbnb secret team, because that proves even without clearance, with enough money, he's able to make things go away. And even with the government, if you look at Shapiro, his whole role, when you look at like the laptop thing and everything, was reaching out to journalists. He always had connections to journalists. That's how he was leveraged in many ways, was connections to journalists to get a certain narrative out. Just making sure everyone's there again, my ducks. But yeah, that's always been what I've believed, is that's, for me, proof that he can make things go away behind the scenes. If you believe Justin was a predator, there's no way he would have allowed her to go back to the film and do intimate scenes. I agree. There's no way. I don't believe it. To the contrary, the FAC alleges that Mr. Reynolds took steps consistent with believing his wife's allegations, including demanding an apology from Mr. Baldoni. Wasn't that for her weight? And apparently, and mocking Mr. Baldoni's woke feminist facade in Deadpool and Wolverine. Wait, what? Wait, what? So he's saying that the fact that, wait, what? That mocking Justin as dead or as nice pool is proof that Ryan believed his wife was being SH'd? No. I don't think that's what it proves. I think it proves that y'all are very petty and nothing was going on that was as serious as you claim. Not to mention Mr. Baldoni's own public admissions about his past conduct. He has never said he was a sexual predator. What? The deep disdain that the FAC alleges Mr. Reynolds feels towards Mr. Baldoni concedes that Mr. Reynolds subjectively believes that what he said about Mr. Baldoni, and thus defeats a finding of actual malice. The predator statements refer solely to Mr. Baldoni and not any of the 6 other Wayfair parties. To the extent that the FAC intends to assert the defamation claim on behalf of any defendant other than Mr. Baldoni, it requires dismissal because the predator statements are not of and concerning any of them. The FAC fails to state a claim of false light as a matter of law under New York or California law. There's no tort of false light invasion of privacy under New York law, and the court need not engage in any further analysis in order to dismiss such a claim. While California law recognizes claims of false light, dismissal also is required when, as here, the claim for false light invasion of privacy is duplicative of a defamation claim. All right, they're just going over the law. The Wayfair complaint fails to state a claim for civil extortion. The civil extortion claim against Mr. Reynolds must be dismissed because New York law does not recognize extortion as a tort or any private right of action. I do imagine this is difficult with all the different jurisdictions and everything. I don't doubt that at all. The FAC is devoid of any allegations, much less particularized allegations that Mr. Reynolds obtained any money or property from any of the Wayfair defendants or made any wrongful threat of prosecution, much less with knowledge of the falsity of the claims. And the same is true using the borrowed elements of criminal extortion. The FAC fails to allege that Mr. Reynolds either, 1, obtained any property or consideration from any Wayfair defendant, because of course he did not, or 2, did so through a wrongful use of force or fear. This is just wild. Ryan Reynolds screamed at Justin when he fat shamed her, quote unquote. Yeah, quote unquote, fat shamed her. So you can imagine what he's really like if he believed the SH complaint. That's a good point. That's a very good point. If he lost it to that point over thinking that someone had made comments about his wife's weight, what would he have done if he actually thought that all of these allegations she made were true? That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. The only thing Ryan didn't admit is to Blake falling for Justin. Yeah, it's wild. And you could take it, right, as the dialogue under or around the dog pool character. I mean, it does seem he likes to take digs at people through characters, and it did seem like he was taking a dig at Blake. The intentional interference claims must be dismissed. All right, they're just going over law again. To survive a motion to dismiss, a plaintiff must specifically plead the existence of a valid contract and must identify what provisions of the contract were breached as a result of the acts at issue. So yeah, they're basically just saying that the FAC fails all of this. The FAC does not allege any details about the contract, including which parties it allegedly bound. Surely not all 7 Wayfair parties were parties to it, what the contract's terms were, or what provisions were allegedly breached. Strikingly, throughout the entire FAC, there's not a single allegation that WME breached its contract with any Wayfair party, much less a description or a quotation of a contractual term allegedly breached. Instead, the Wayfair parties allege solely that, upon information and belief, Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds induced WME to cease performing under its contract. I mean, Ari Emanuel literally confirmed that. That Ari Emanuel unhinged response is going to bite them in the ass. And I love that it was leaked audio and someone recorded it. I mean, karma. It's the saying, like, the chickens are coming home to roost, which they usually don't. We have to round up our chickens every night and try to force them in their coops. But anyway. But the where were we? Okay, so it's not the same. Basically, they're saying they're not seeing any actual contractual provisions that they claim WME breached when it ceased performance. I mean, I'm sure that's all going to come out. I'm assuming Justin has a contract in place that he had with WME. I can't imagine that he did not have a contract. The FAC fails to state a claim for intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. Yeah, they're just still going. So they say the FAC does not even attempt to allege that Mr. Reynolds acted solely out of malice as it required to survive a motion to dismiss. But the FAC itself asserts that Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds were motivated at least in part by a desire to seize control of her film production. Taking that allegation as true, as the court must at this stage, whether or not it is true. I love how they put that in brackets. That's for the public. Such a move, akin to normal economic self-interest, is inconsistent with the sole purpose of inflicting intentional harm and insufficient to state a claim for tortious interference with prospective economic advantage. They're like, they just have to assume it's true if we take it as true. Nor does the FAC allege that Mr. Reynolds employed any wrongful means. I mean, but it's still like, I feel like this is the whole point of discovery, is to connect the dots. I don't know. To satisfy that element, as a general rule, the defendant's conduct must amount to a crime or an independent tort. But there is nothing in the FAC that amounts to an allegation of wrongful means. At most, the FAC alleges that Mr. Reynolds approached an executive at WME and suggested the agency was working with a sexual predator. And at a later date, demanded the agent drop Baldoni. Funny enough, he was dropped, though. He was dropped. Ari Emanuel, that statement from Ari Emanuel, like, talk about people that have never had their actions, like, they've never been told no. They've never had their words mean anything in terms of being held accountable for what they do or say, because Ari Emanuel just spouts that crap, then sees the damage it was doing on social media, and then all of a sudden the footage is lost, which I do not believe for a second. There is no way. I know shit happens. I know technology does technology things sometimes. I've recorded different times, and I remember I did a recording once. I actually cried because afterwards, when I went to upload it to YouTube, there's no audio there. I've done recordings in the past where, it sounds great, and then you go to upload it and there's like weird sounds that are happening with the mic or happening with, like, I understand things happen. There is no way that all of a sudden the Ari Emanuel audio that confirmed Justin Baldoni's side, just no. I don't believe it. Ryan is going down, sitting here with popcorn and watching. Oh my gosh, yes. I need popcorn. Oh my gosh, I could go for popcorn. What day is it? It's Wednesday. I can even go to the bakery today because in the middle of nowhere in Cowtown, nothing is open Monday, sometimes not even Tuesday. All right, let's keep going. Nor does the FAC allege that Mr. Reynolds employed any wrongful means to satisfy that element. As a general rule, the defendant's conduct must amount to a crime or an independent tort. Oh, I think we already read that. But sharp language, such as insulting a defendant by calling them a thief and scumbag, is not wrongful or culpable conduct sufficiently to qualify as wrongful means. I want them to say it with their full chest. I want them to actually argue the truth. Because when they're talking about Ryan and, he just said predator, they're not saying the entire statement. Scumbag and sexual predator to Ari Emanuel and sexual predator in an age of post-Me Too where people are not going to take that as a joke, where it's going to destroy someone's life and business is different. I mean, I'm not a lawyer though. What do I know? What do I know? So wild. That podcast would have had to hand over under subpoena if they actually have it. I imagine it is like burned. Well, I guess now it's all digital, right? I mean, I'm going back to the days of like CDs. I'm aging myself. I'm like, yeah, we would burn the CD. Or, oh my gosh, you guys remember actually burning CDs? They were like, pull the tape out, make sure no one could get it. Ashley, how long has it been since we've just been using digital? All right. Catch up with the times, Ashley. Catch up with the times. The FAC fails to state a claim for negligent interference. The negligent interference claim must be dismissed because there's no claim for negligent interference with prospective economic advantage under New York law. Each of the tortious interference claims must also fail because the FAC does not allege that Mr. Reynolds' alleged conduct approximately caused WME to cease performance. Oh, come on. Do they even believe this? The FAC is silent as to how Mr. Reynolds, someone who does not own or control WME, could plausibly cause WME to cease performing its contract with Baldoni. Did they not? Okay. Now I'm wondering, I'm losing my voice already, and it's only 11:40, and I have clients today. Oh my goodness. Because make sure to like and subscribe because I did a video on Colleen Hoover. If you really like human design and astrology, you're going to want to see that video as well. Or you can just watch the first half on what went down with Colleen Hoover in the last 24 hours. And you can avoid the second half if you don't want to watch the human design piece. But I'm already losing my voice. Do you think like they're gaslighting us? Ari Emanuel literally said that he fired him because he's ride or die for Blake and Ryan. And he said more than that as well. That Ryan and Blake are good people. And I can't remember the exact words, but basically that Justin's a creep and he would always support Blake and Ryan. Who wrote this? I mean, they keep quoting podcasts and YouTube videos from Justin. Maybe they need to spend some of their time catching up on the leaked audio from Ari Emanuel. Because he literally admitted it. Finally, and regardless of the theory under which their claims are brought, the Wayfair parties have failed to sufficiently allege damages. Merely alluding to damages in a conclusatory fashion does not suffice. The FAC repeatedly asserts that the Wayfair parties were harmed and prays for a damage award of at least $400 million, but nowhere explains how or how much any of the Wayfair parties were actually damaged by any of the alleged conduct in the complaint. I imagine that's all going to come out, though. An allegation that a complaint suffered damages without particular facts as to how, well, we know how, because you opened your mouth and you people destroyed his reputation. So we know how. FAC has nothing more than a bare assertion that the Wayfair parties were harmed in an unexplained demand for $400 million, but is not enough to state a claim. I'm sure Justin can add up all the movies and contracts he lost. I mean, how much would the second It Ends With Us have made if this one was a hit? That alone. Ryan wrote more than half. I agree. I had Windows 95. I love it. I remember working at a video store. People would bring like the CDs back, the Blockbuster era. I didn't work at Blockbuster, but oh my goodness. The Wayfair complaint fails to allege conspiracy liability. Having failed to allege any plausible claim based on Mr. Reynolds' conduct, the FAC attempts to hold him liable on a conspiracy theory. That attempt fails under both California and New York law. A civil conspiracy theory requires that a plaintiff allege 1, an agreement to participate in an unlawful act or a lawful act in an unlawful means, 2, an overt act performed in furtherance of the scheme, and 3, an injury caused by the overt act. Conclusory allegations do not suffice to survive a motion to dismiss. A complaint must contain more than general allegations in support of the conspiracy. Rather, it must allege the specific times, facts, and circumstances of the alleged conspiracy. Here, the FAC pleads no specific facts indicating the necessary agreement among any parties, any overt acts done in furtherance of such an agreement, and, as discussed in another place, any damages. Even under the liberal pleading standards of Rule 8, a complaint must do more than assert that defendants agree to commit a tort. This is just wild. Read individually or as a whole, the FAC's allegations that Mr. Reynolds participated in a conspiracy to engage in tortious conduct against any of the Wayfair parties or plaintiffs are utterly conclusory. They amount to bare assertions. I just don't see how this is all bare assertions, but okay. Appearing to recognize this deficiency, the Wayfair parties confine each of their allegations of conspiracy to information and belief, but that only confirms that the Wayfair plaintiffs' conspiracy allegations fall short because claims made solely on information and belief are sufficient to sustain a conspiracy theory, are insufficient to sustain a conspiracy theory. But Blake's altered text messages and Believe Me Bros are fine. Like, she couldn't even put text messages in her amended lawsuit. It was just like quotes. And I genuinely believe it was because the women she was trying to quote were like, keep me out of this shit. And so she's like, fine, I'll just quote you and then drag your ass to court and force you to testify. Justin just filed a response to Sloan's motion to dismiss. We're never leaving today. People are like, why don't you create more short form content like reels and shit? I'm like, because if I'm not with you guys streaming live or creating pre-recorded content, I'm on client calls. Now we're going to be using our time where I would have been creating short form content to look at that. The court should award Mr. Reynolds attorney's fees pursuant to New York's anti-SLAPP law. Mr. Reynolds is entitled to attorney's fees under the substantive fee shifting provision of New York's anti-SLAPP now he wants, okay. I'm not even giving you the time of day to read that, Ryan. The court should strike Exhibition A to the Wayfair complaint or a minimum disregard it. Mr. Reynolds joins the argument in the Sloan MTD, moving the court to strike the FAC's Exhibit A pursuant to Rule 12F. As the court has recognized, permitting a party to satisfy its pleadings requirements by attaching documents other than instruments to the complaint would do considerable damage to Rule 8 notice requirement, including by requiring a defendant to hunt around in voluminous materials to figure out what the plaintiff alleges is relevant and supports its claims and what is extraneous. So it's the same thing as Leslie Sloan. Like, man, it's a lot of work. A lot of work. Don't make us work. All claims against Mr. Reynolds should be dismissed with prejudice and without leave to amend, and the court should award Mr. Reynolds his costs, including attorney fees incurred as a result of the consolidated action. All right. I did want to look at a couple parts of the two lawyers. Ask two lawyers. Oh, I don't know if this is the one I want to pull up. Yeah, I think this is. Oh, shoot. Okay. So there were a couple spots I wanted to look at. And then I'll see about pulling up that document. What I will probably do is end this stream and then start a new stream in like 15 minutes or so. I don't know how like Emily D. Baker streams for 8-10 hours without peeing and eating. I don't know how she does it. So I'll look at how long it is and we might just end up closing this stream off starting a new stream to do the other document. But let's first start here. Okay. I really like these guys. They seem like good dudes. I'm going to reach out. I'll see if they want to come hang out with us here. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. Damn it. Actually, switch the screen. Switch the screen. Eee. I'm just watching it by myself, guys. You guys just hang out and chat. I'm going to watch it by myself. Oh, man. I crack myself up sometimes. All right. Let's try this again. Am I even? There we go. We're sharing the right screen. Oh,
Wolverine, that's when Ryan Reynolds allegedly made this statement. So it seems like that would be specific enough in my mind, but they're arguing that it's not specific enough. So now let's get to the really good part. And this is where the gloves are really coming off. Let's go down to page 9. And it's sub number 2, and highlight like the first 4 lines, or yeah, the whole paragraph even, that's fine. So this is a really good one. So the predator statements are not defamatory because they are constitutionally protected opinion. I'm sorry, what? So in other words, if you call somebody a sexual predator, then that is constitutionally protected opinion. That it seems a little bit of a stretch for me, because of the use of the term sexual predator seems a pretty drastic statement. Would don't you think, Stuart? Versus just saying, you know, you're a crook, or I hate you, or you're no good.
I mean, it's the whole point of defamation is that you can sue people when they harm your reputation. And there's certain categories that are going to be more harmful to your reputation than others. If I went around and told everybody that you had a venereal disease, which he does not, but if I ran around and told everybody that, and then people believed that about you, it would impact your reputation. Is that freedom of speech of the person who's running around saying Keith Davidson has venereal disease? I mean, it's almost like music coming out of my mouth when I say that.
They're funny guys. I like them a lot. You know, I feel like to see them start to get a little bit riled over it. I'm getting filing will email. Thank you. You always got my back. I love you. Yeah, they have really great points. I like them a lot. I also like being around calming forces like them because I tend to run a little bit hot. I always joke, if you know horses, I'm kind of like a chestnut thoroughbred mare. I run a little bit on the crazy side. But I love their energy. I think it balances out my approach very beautifully. So I'd love to have them on.
It's such a wonderful thing.
Not to me, it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did that offend you? So I think that the issue there is, look, there's free speech in this world, and then there's things that aren't free speech, and we don't give. It's free to say it, I suppose, but then somebody can hold you accountable for what you say. And if you call somebody a sexual predator, that can ruin their reputation. It can damage them. It can harm them. It can keep them from future movie roles or just working as a regular person. If I went and told every law firm in California that you were a sexual predator or this or that, and they believed it or didn't want to get close to the drama, and you were damaged because you couldn't find a job as a lawyer after that, even though you're a perfectly fine lawyer, you would have a cause of action against me, and you could sue me for that. And if you said, oh, that was just my freedom of speech, that it was just an opinion, and I'm just making an opinion, I'm just joshing, I'm just having some fun over here, I don't think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. So see, like, and that's the thing I find. I love watching lawyers talk on it. And some of this is just like common sense as well, right? It's just, which because we're all just mommy sleuths with too much time on our hands, according to Glamour. I mean, apparently we can't understand how this is all going down. But all right, this part was.
This is something you're not allowed to do in a 12b6 motion. Is you cannot go beyond the 4 corners of the First Amendment complaint.
And here in this case, where they have gone beyond the 4 corners of the complaint, who do they want to consume this news?
Oh, the public.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point, and it's something that we've alluded to actually said many times. is that a lot of these pleadings are being drafted not just for the court but for the public.
It almost forces Baldoni to actually address this comment again and publicize it again in his opposition to this 12b6. It's a really tough place for Baldoni to be, because he actually has to talk about this now.
And that's what I was saying, and what worries me a bit is, like, does he have to talk about it now? But, you know, I'm interested to see Brian, again, we trust Brian Friedman here. I really like him. I really like his filings. I think he's just a powerhouse. I trust him, but I do see where they're coming from too.
They've doubled down and they basically said, hey, you know, Ryan Reynolds called you a sexual predator, but you kind of called yourself that. And then you get caught in the, well, this can't even be considered. And then, of course, what does the public opinion say? Well, what, you know, I can imagine somebody arguing on Ryan Reynolds' side, well, he's trying to hide this away now. See, he won't even let us talk about this. When that's not the standard. The standard is you have to look at the four corners of Justin Baldoni's First Amendment complaint, and that's the
okay. So that's the part that I wouldn't have understood. So the four corners, we have to stay within the four corners, he says, of Justin Baldoni's complaint.
only thing you can use to come after him. Now, if Mr. Baldoni included his YouTube clip in his First Amendment complaint, it's fair game. You can talk about it, you can bring it up, you can argue it, but I don't think it's in there.
No, it's
Yeah, I don't think any of those clips are in there. That is wild. But again, like I said, I think these Blake and Ryan, for me, the biggest issue with them is that they expose what they do by accusing other people of doing it. I honestly think that if they do it, they assume everyone else has to do it.
what Mr. Baldoni has bragged about in public. Now, this really goes to your point, Stuart. Now, this is for public consumption right here.
Yeah, and again, it's just not needed. And I'm frustrated by this case, because I want to say shame on you, the lawyers that write this. I want to say shame on Ryan Reynolds if he approved this. This is not the direction you guys need to go in the case. You're doubling down. You're making things worse. The sexual predator issue was a difficult one for Mr. Baldoni to swallow. Ryan Friedman has made it clear that they want to be vindicated and that they're going to trial. All lawyers say they're going to go to trial. But at the 12b6 motion here, you're making it harder to resolve this case, because now what you've done is you've dropped a nuclear bomb when you didn't need to. And the statements that are being made here are harsh. I think they're overly stated. They're overly argued. This is not helpful. And I'm not sure, it reminds me of the SNL moment. What did Ryan Reynolds think he would get out of that?
Yeah.
I don't know if Blake Lively knew about that or not, but what were they hoping to get? And my same question would be to these lawyers, what are you hoping to get out of this 12b6?
Right.
Because what you've done is you've just insulted the man again in the strongest language possible. And now he's in a position where you've painted him into a corner where he is going to ask a jury to determine this case, because he feels like you're wrongfully attacking him here.
Again and again and again and again and again. It's just wild. Anyway, guys, make sure you support them. They are so wonderful. We need to get them to higher numbers. Let's get them to 20K. They are just absolutely wonderful. Blow the belt always, Ryan, huh? Yeah. But why doesn't Blake or Ryan have clips or anything else? Yep, they have nothing. This is just a big PR stunt. I agree with you guys. Okay, let me check my email quick before I let you guys go, because if we do have things in my... Okay, let's just have a look. You guys chat amongst yourself while I pull up the email and see, because opening in a fancy document. All right. All right, there it is. It's in my email. How long is this? It's not that long, but I just need 5-10 minutes. So what we're going to do, I am enraged as well. My language is getting worse. That is totally okay. Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, if you're new here, subscribe, because I'm going to close this stream and maybe give me 10-15 minutes. So actually it's noon Eastern here. How about we set up for 12:30? So that gives me half an hour to hydrate, get some food, and then we will reconvene here at 12:30 and we will look at the response from Justin's side about Leslie Sloan and anything else that comes up in the next half hour. All right. Does that sound good for you guys? We will meet back. I will get a stream ready to go. We'll same time, or not same time, different time, half an hour from now, same place. I will see you guys shortly. Thank you for being here. I have more swear words. Bring the swear words. They are welcome. Eat something, drink your water. I know. I get so excited. I do bring water and then I don't drink any of it and I get a migraine. Okay, I'm going to see you guys in a half an hour. All right. I'll see you soon, guys.